Coming at you live from the Coppel Chevrolet GMC studios in the heart of Lincoln, America. On air and online at theticketfm.com. Sponsored by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. This is On the Block with Strick and Bob. Hold up.
Happy Snoop Dogg Day to everybody out there in Lincoln, Nebraska, as Snoopaloop is here in town, ready for a concert tonight. Strick, there's a few times where I would say, don't you wish you were in Nebraska instead of in Florida? But maybe tonight could be one of those.
Yeah, it would have been kind of cool to get out there. I do have a Snoop story, but
have you been to a concert?
I have.
Snoop concert? Oh, yeah.
Well, one of my good friends, I used to live in LA some time ago. One of my good friends was, kind of really cool with Snoop and the whole Dog Pound. And so he had stayed with me for a period, and we ended up, it was an experience. And this is in 2000. So we ended up, probably I'd say 99, 2000. And so we went out to his place in California, and literally he had security like standing like away from the house, so you had to like pull up and get greeted. Yeah. And so we went out. It was way out now, so we're in LA, so it was kind of when you're watching Friday and all that stuff, when they talked about Rancho Cucamonga and all that stuff out there. And so we pull up, we go in, and he's in the studio. So we go in the house, we go in the studio. We're sitting in there, watching him do some music. We have an introduction. We have some conversation. We had some talk. Yep. And we chopped it up. And then he did a concert in San Diego. So him and Daz and Corrupt and all them, they were doing a concert. So we were backstage with them watching the concert. So. Wow, it was pretty cool experience. Yeah, that was my little Snoop Dogg experience.
To actually see him in the studio too. I mean, that's
he had a studio in his house, and so in the back, and it was real cool, man. It was a good experience.
So you don't need to go to the Snoop Dogg concert. You've already done people pay a lot of money for the meet and greet. You already got it done. So
I got a close up. Yeah, I got a close up with Snoopy.
But
Snoop double G.
Yeah, double G. Double G. We'll see tonight. I think it'll be a lot of fun for Lincolnites to have fun. For what it's worth, the Lincoln police have already said that they'll go ahead and let Snoop light up because it's part of his act. So basically,
420.
They said it basically they understand what's happening. When you throw a Snoop Dogg concert, you kind of understand what's going to go down, not just from what's up on stage, but some of the audience as well. So it'll be kind of a fun little celebration for those people downtown.
Listen, it's crazy. It's sad. It's not sad, but it's a reality of life. There are certain people that can do and go certain places and do certain things that it's just it can be accepted. Like I said, man, my Red Auerbach experience with the Celtics was just one of those instances. This is the time where you could not smoke inside buildings. It was a law, and you just don't smoke in the buildings. But Red Auerbach, right in there. I mean, you're literally in the arena getting it in. So listen. Who's going to stop Red from?
He owns the team. He basically owns Boston for what it's worth for what he put down for the Celtics. But also, it kind of reminds me too. It's kind of funny how that travels with you because it reminds me of a story of the late and great Adrian Fiala, who used to work here. Was kind of like the dawn of Husker football. I mean, he was sweet. But so around town, I knew like he could pretty much. Can kind of park where he wanted and go where he wanted, right? And not have to really worry about it. He's Adrian Fiala. One of my favorite stories from our old PD here, John Gaskins, was that he basically took that attitude with him on, to the airplanes in Chicago. Like they wouldn't know who Adrian Fiala is, but it doesn't matter because he's Adrian Fiala. So he kind of got his way and just kind of, kept that confidence about him and ended up getting his way. So a little bit different there, but it's kind of funny.
What is the big time country music star? And it's on the tip of my tongue. Old school. and he
Oh,
was
Willie Nelson.
kind of in the hip. Willie Nelson.
Yeah.
Willie Nelson is that same guy. Willie Nelson is the Snoop Dogg of another genre. And
Right.
so you saying if Willie Nelson, was in the concert that he wasn't going to be able to like Willie Nelson was firing up. You know what I'm saying? He was that guy on the other side of things. So yeah.
Well, it's cool too because maybe it does have to do with the connection to pot or whatever, but it is cool to have an icon like Snoop. Like there's that type of word like legend, icon, that sort of stuff kind of gets thrown out around too much, and I don't like when you just kind of say it. But Snoop Dogg is like one of the few guys, and I said this about the halftime performance is that. A few of those guys are absolute icons. I mean, you can't argue with like Dr. Dre and Eminem and Snoop Dogg. And so it's just kind of cool to have one in town.
I think it's good for Lincoln to be able to get that higher profile of concert that would come through. And listen, Snoop could have been anywhere in the country. He could have been anywhere in California. He could have been in Denver. You know what I mean? He could have been in any place where it was okay. And no problem. But he chose Lincoln, Nebraska out of all the freaking places. That in itself is dope. It's an honor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's pretty cool for Lincoln to be able to pull that off
I think
they're celebrating that.
Yeah. I think he's fighting the good fight is what he's doing. That's what people wonder. Like, why would you choose to maybe he's trying to fight uphill there. So we'll see how it goes with Snoop tonight. I don't think I'm gonna go. I'll just I'll enjoy listening.
You'll watch it from afar.
Yeah, I'll just watch from afar. I know I could see some of that.
I would only go if I had a suite. Like if I was gonna be in a suite, that would be the only way I'd go. But in the midst of the crowd action now.
Yeah, you definitely probably get a secondhand high there tonight if you even go around Pinnacle Bakery. So we'll see how that goes. So maybe you if you want to, just go around and sniff around the building if you don't want to pay for anything. That might work for you. But we were going to have a lot of kind of fun to start the show. It's Snoop Dogg Day. That's kind of what we started with. I don't know if you saw the news over the last hour. Nebraska basically has two defensive linemen that going into the day, I suppose, that had experience. And Ty Robinson being one, Casey Rogers, who was coming off an injury, the other one. The defensive line incredibly thin, one of the biggest worries. The reason why they played two-hand touch football basically in the spring game with their starters, just too thin at that position. And announced today now that Casey Rogers is entering the transfer portal. Therefore, Nebraska gets even more thin and even less experienced in the room. The text lines kind of had different kind of thoughts about it. Gary says, I never thought that Casey Rogers was a huge contributor or difference maker. Can someone convince me otherwise? For what it's worth, I mean, the numbers don't completely jump out to your numbers. 42 tackles, 6 tackles for loss, 1.5 sacks. But especially for defensive linemen, sometimes, you could be the one that makes the breakthrough to chase the quarterback or the running back out so that the linebacker gets him, right? So I mean, you don't necessarily get any numbers for it if you're disrupting and making the big play. And I think that was how I would describe Casey Rogers more so than as a guy that just landed a bunch of sacks or something, is that he was disruptive at times, and certainly it was flashing, and certainly the injury last year limited him. I thought he looked better 2 years ago than he did last year. But over time, you kind of thought he would be a great building block alongside Ty Robinson to get that defensive line going. And then you would just need to add depth to it. Maybe Nash Hutmacher you can kind of throw in there. Doesn't have a whole lot of experience, but that's the same at every position, is that you're going to have to put some new blood in there, as long as there's some a little bit to come back there with. But now,
especially when you're playing that 5-3. I'm sorry, the 3-4. If you're playing 3-4, like you're saying, for a guy like him, it's disruption, it's clogging, it's filling. So it's not necessarily like a 4-3 where you have like where you would love to have an Ndamukong Suh type or an Aaron Donald type who hits gaps, gets in space, be able to bounce off of in the gaps of two different the center and the guard, or the guard and the tackle type of thing, and move down the line with speed and quickness. So that is different. You're mostly relying on linebackers, and that's where the linebackers excel in the 3-4. You know what I mean? So yeah, you're absolutely right.
And the numbers played out that way. Nick Henrich and Luke Reimer had, I mean, they were
big years,
17 tackles a game at times, and had huge years, like you were saying. So, it is a loss, a huge loss for Nebraska in my mind, but it just adds to a very frustrating defensive line season now at Nebraska. And somebody else disagreed with me on the text line that maybe it doesn't matter that you don't have a title of defensive line coach. But again, it's just kind of if things go haywire, maybe the titles don't matter, and you're doing the same thing as you would on and off the field. And Mike Dawson is the outside linebackers coach, but I don't, at least on the Huskers website, they haven't included defensive line coach in there with him. I don't know how much that would help, but it just doesn't have a great look to it now that you've lost Damian Daniels, DeAndre Thomas, Jordan Riley, and Casey Rogers off the defensive line. That's a few starters.
It's scary.
I mean, that's a lot of depth that you lost, and some of it, Damian Daniels, DeAndre Thomas, they just, that they're not taking advantage of an extra year of COVID. So, there are a lot of players that did that. So how much do you count them against it? But ultimately, when it's that many numbers, and now you're this thin on the defensive line, you just had to convince one or two of those guys to stick around. And I don't know who was doing the convincing, because Tony Tuioti, their defensive line coach, left for Oregon, took Jordan Riley with him, and now, you're just so incredibly thin in the conference that it was already going to be trouble before today, but you just don't have anybody that you've seen play to rely on now, other than Ty Robinson, who, again, I feel bad for, because I think he's due for a breakout season if he has help around him. But if he's like the guy that everybody keys on up front, it's going to be hard to overcome a bunch of double teams. And, if he's just there with guys that aren't big enough freshmen that are playing before their time, or guys that just aren't ready, maybe you kind of missed on their scholarship. They're still around. It hasn't worked out. They haven't got playing time yet. Maybe some of these young guys will step up. But to me, to include, I guess, Ty Robinson, but Casey Rogers as well, if you told me entering today, where you couldn't afford to lose the guy into the transfer portal, my goodness, defensive line would be probably the top spot.
Well, that's scary. It's definitely scary now that this is the outcome, and the defensive line that was already thin is now thinned out. I mean, we saw what the second half looked like. It was gash city, right? And you don't want to continuously lose. That's where the battles definitely start and are won, especially in the Big Ten, is there in the front lines of the defensive line. And so to be able to lose those types of players, minimizing depth, injury now becomes definitely a major issue. You're now under the gun, basically, for trying to secure more individuals, definitely in the portal like never before. And you want impact type portal transfer. You don't want just filler, because in the Big Ten, it's going to be, they're running it down your throat, especially in the West as well. So that's a scary thought to know. They're going to have to get creative. They may have to do some shifting and turn some guys around, unfortunately, if they can't land anybody, because they're going to have to secure that and do it well. Maybe you put some speed guys in there and hey, have at it, be small. I mean, likes of Air Force and teams like that have done it with quick and speed and rotations to be able to get by. But it's going to be tough in the Big Ten.
Yeah, and it is. And again, to me, as Nick originally thought of it, Nick Sainer of the recruiting, or excuse me, the happy hour, was kind of thinking, this is a big blow to the defense, just kind of as it's built. The linebacker unit's still solid, but the secondary and the defensive line now, not a whole lot of Big Ten experience. I'm more kind of thinking about it in my mind about the offense and the defensive line. The biggest factors that are going to weigh in any team, but certainly in the Big Ten, and even more so in the Big Ten West. It's going to be important to have that crew ready on both sides. And obviously the offensive line was the biggest weakness last year. And I don't know, you had your two tackles sitting out for a majority of the spring. Obviously you lost your best player in Cam Jurgens. Looking like maybe that's a good decision for Jurgens now, as he might be a second-round pick, a third-round pick. I mean, that's a solid decision.
Where you want to be, yeah.
Forward, right? Yeah. So, at once it didn't look great, but now looking a little bit more understandable.
But he's unique. He's unique. Yeah. I mean, his abilities to get outside with speed, quickness, downfield, he's unique. Cam Jurgens is unique. Yeah. And that's something that's warranted. And the versatility to work both from the center to the guards. Yeah, he's going to be a phenomenal catch.
I can't wait to see his pro career play out. But in any case, the fact remains, you lost him before his eligibility is up. You lost Damian Daniels when you had a chance. I mean, those are, when you talk about the middle or the starting point of your offense and your defense, that's both those guys. So they're out the door. And so I just think that these weaknesses continue to hurt Nebraska. And I can't bring it to myself. Again, we talk about pumping you guys up and getting Huskers Kool-Aid going, and I love that as much as anybody, but it's going to be hard for me to do it with huge question marks on the offensive line, beat up offensive line in the spring, even more so beat up defensive line now. And the defensive line was not a problem last year, but now you lost all these guys. I just think that where it matters most, Nebraska is really struggling. And I think that might, I can't project that to be too good moving forward for him. Derek also mentions Feldarius Payne, another guy that left, technically an outside linebacker, I guess, but if you go into the 4-3, he'd be an edge rusher. So I mean, you include him, it's Feldarius Payne, Jordan Riley, Casey Rogers, DeAndre Thomas, and Damian Daniels that you lose potentially off that front. And you're just left with Ty Robinson and guys that haven't played. Again, Nate Hushmacher, you kind of expect him to take that step up, but there's not a whole lot of buzz around a whole lot of other guys. And again, on that defensive line, it's sometimes going to take a while to get those guys Big Ten ready. So you have some bodies to throw out there, but like you were saying, you need to replace Casey Rogers with a Casey Rogers. You can't replace him with a project because you have enough of those on the roster. You need starters. You need players that are going to be ready to go. Brian off of YouTube says Nebraska is in panic mode now. Teams will just run up the middle against us. No depth or experience on the defensive line. Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing. And just injuries will completely crumble that as well. Maybe Nebraska is going to be in for some shootouts. Is potentially what could happen.
I mean, that's what they're going to have to be. I mean, when you say shootout too, we got to think from a standpoint of not necessarily running up the score. You've got to move the ball. I mean, you've got to be able, if you're that thin on the defensive side, especially at the line position, if you get worn down and teams are getting 5-6 yards a carry on you, you're done for, right? Because now you open up the whole field. You open up play action, deep balls going, because now you got to move the secondary up. You've got to probably bring a safety down. You've got to do things to try to eliminate that rush game. And then that opens up things behind the linebackers. Linebackers got to stay up a little bit more. They can't get depth in their coverages. And so now just everything behind you begins to open up. And so you've got to be able to move the ball. You've got to get first downs. You've got to basically give them an opportunity to breathe so that they can go out there and still be effective if you're not going to have depth.
Yeah, and just to go to the text line again, Ross says, so can't stop the run and no pressure on the quarterback. That's going to be rough.
Trouble.
Yeah, that's not good weaknesses to have. James says, just got into the car. Did Casey Rogers give a reason why he's transferring? No, we don't have that yet. It's kind of hard, just speculation if you're really trying to wheedle that out. But some of the thoughts that I've seen so far are kind of interesting. Do you think, the timing obviously is kind of strange. He sat out the spring and waited till post spring ball to make the move. So, it's his life. I mean, whenever the things fell into place, made sense for him to announce this is what it is. But I thought one point was interesting. Do you think that the losing culture, and I hate to say losing culture because I'm not saying the culture is built that way, but the fact that these guys haven't been to bowl games, that none of these guys have had winning seasons at Nebraska, do you think that will start to hurt? Maybe Casey Rogers wants to play for a winner.
Well, that was what I was going to say. I was going to say this whole thing would probably be a different situation had they won some of those games, right? Had they had the record that we're talking about for hopefully next year, is that 500 or above, or you have a couple of big wins that you had on the ropes. You beat the Iowa, maybe you win the Michigan game, you knock off Oklahoma like you had. If you win 2 or 3 of those games, then you might be inspired to definitely come back and give it another run to do better. And I think that could be a point that as you get older, you start, it's the same thing in other leagues in the NBA. I mean, you look at guys that didn't win a championship, hadn't won a championship. It goes all the way back to my generation. You started to see the Clyde Drexlers trying to partner up with the Charles Barkley's, you know what I mean? So that they can go and get one, you know what I mean? So those are the things that, people start to look to as you start to get towards the tail end of your potential career, and you want to be able to be an impact on a winner. And maybe they didn't feel that was, the prospect that was looking up for them.
Yeah, and I've also had some people, kind of questioning, is this really that big of a deal? Is this Casey Rogers news turn, Nebraska into a destructive season? It's not just the loss of Casey Rogers. It's the fact that Casey Rogers was kind of that thread that you were holding on to, right? And you just couldn't have it break because there's just not enough depth there. And now the thread is broken, and now it's quite a worrisome day, at least in my mind. We'll catch up with Evan Bland of the Omaha World Herald and break it down from his point of view. See if he can put a positive spin on this. It's going to be hard to do, but we'll try to challenge him with that. Coming up next year on The Block on 93.7 The Ticket.
This is your High School Minute.
With your Southeast Community College High School Minute, I'm Gus Cottle. Gretna quarterback Zane Flores, the highest-rated quarterback in the Nebraska 2023 class, has committed to Oklahoma State. Lincoln East baseball defeated Lincoln North Star 9-5. Bellevue West boys soccer defeated Omaha Benson 3-1. Creighton Prep soccer defeated Gretna 2-1, and Kearney boys soccer defeated Omaha Central 5-0. Lincoln Southeast girls soccer defeated Norfolk 3-1. Lincoln High girls soccer defeated Omaha Bryan 7-0. Papillion La Vista won the girls tennis Lincoln High Invitational, with Salil Chung from Papillion La Vista coming away with the singles victory. This has been your Southeast Community College High School Minute. Learn more today at southeast.edu.
Brats, check. Chips, check. Tickets. I love tailgating, but this year I actually wanted to be in the stadium. Season tickets just weren't in my budget. Then I found a way. A research study at Solarion. I searched the studies and found a perfect match for me. I earned cash for the study and bought those season tickets. Plus, I made an impact on medical research. Find a study and sign up today at helpresearch.com.
You should consider the risks of the research before you agree to participate.
There's nothing quite like the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese Beef. The Mercado offers unique ingredients you can't find anywhere else, open every day from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The full-service butcher shop and retail store is wonderful for meat lovers with their exclusive Certified Piedmontese Beef and assorted sausages, plus other quality meats, including pork, chicken, and a wide range of the freshest seafood. Plus, every Friday from 11 to 2, the Mercado serves up the best lunch in town on their Friday Feast menu. Stop in at the Mercado today at 84th and Havelock or visit their website at cpmercado.com to see current deals.
Hello, I'm Charlie Stone, back with the latest news from Honda of Lincoln. Joining me now is the general manager, Andy Goodyear. Hey, Andy, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Charlie.
Hey, Andy, with spring right around the corner, how is your supply of new Hondas and pre-owned vehicles?
Really good, Charlie. As I've said before, when you drive by our lot, you don't see what you're looking for, just remember we have hundreds of new Hondas arriving soon, with Honda continuing to offer 0.9% APR financing to qualified buyers. Plus, we have over 125 pre-owned vehicles in stock and ready for immediate delivery.
That's great, Andy. Any more great news?
There is, Charlie. Honda just announced financing from 0.99% APR on certified pre-owned Hondas for qualified buyers.
So come experience the Honda of Lincoln way of doing business. 27th and Yankee Hill Road or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
93.7 The Ticket. Fox KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Your Lincoln forecast today, some showers this morning and breezy conditions. See some clearing later on today, though. High near 68 today. Tonight, mostly clear skies and a low near 41. And tomorrow, see some sunny skies in the morning and maybe a chance of some showers and storms later. See a high near 73. I'm meteorologist Kyle Kleckner for 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com.
Shopping for insurance can be a tedious and frustrating task, but the agents at Brokers Insurance Agency will do the work for you. They have partnered with over 20 of the best insurance carriers in the nation, which allows them to do the shopping all for you. Whether you're looking for business insurance or employee benefits for your company, or you're looking to save money on your home and auto insurance, Brokers Insurance Agency has the agents and solutions to help meet your goals. Call 402-420-5353 or email staff@brokersinsurancene.com.
There's not many things worse than having plumbing issues at your home or business, but it's even worse if the problem isn't fixed correctly. Select Plumbing gets it right the first time, and they specialize in several things: general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate at 402-560-6197. Plus, they're hiring service plumbers. Contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
It's only a room with shelves and books, but it's far more magical than it looks. I'm Jenny Benson, president of the Nebraska State Education Association. Instill a love of books and learning by reading to your children and grandchildren. Create a lifelong habit that leads to a successful future. I think that I shall never see a place that's more useful to me. Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired in cooperation with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket. Every Saturday morning now in our new time, we're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
Back to On the Block with Strick and Bach on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We're back here on the block, brought to you by The Mercado. I'm Jake Bachman. He is Eric Strickland. And every Wednesday at this time, we welcome in Evan Bland of the Omaha World Herald. Evan, how's your day going?
Cannot complain. It's starting to feel like spring a little bit, and the wind isn't, 30 miles an hour, so it's all good.
Yeah, that helps out a little bit. Are you making your way to Lincoln for the Snoop Dogg concert? Did you get tickets as soon as they hit the shelves?
Oh, I'd totally be there if it wasn't for the baseball game tonight. But what can you do? I guess I have I have other plans.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I think Snoop Dogg will be able to forgive you there. What is the baseball game, the midweek matchup for Husker baseball tonight? I know they've got another weekend game or weekend set with the Big Ten, but another non-conference opponent tonight.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. They're playing a single game tonight with North Dakota State, which hasn't played a home game yet this year. I mean, This is their 33rd in a row away from home to start the year. And, they've actually had a pretty good season. They just won a series at Omaha last weekend. I think that can get some people's attention. And, you look at their numbers, it's a team that can pitch pretty well. The offense can score in a lot of different ways, whether that's bunting or home runs or maybe some steals. So, and they're 21-11 against a somewhat decent schedule. So it's not, I don't think, a walkover situation for Nebraska by any means. Their starter is not great. I think he's got an ERA around 9 for the Bison, but maybe that's the kind of thing that can get Nebraska's offense back on track a little bit. But again, I think it should be a somewhat challenging game for the Huskers, even with them throwing their normal Sunday guy, Dawson McCarville, who was sick last weekend. So they actually could get a little more length maybe from a midweek starter. So it's an interesting one heading into a more meaningful series at Indiana. But, hopefully if you're Nebraska, it's one where you can get your offense on track and build up a little confidence for the Big Ten stretch run.
Yeah, and I know Nebraska's obviously had a sub 500 season. It's been struggling, but if you look in the Big Ten, they're still kind of in the middle of it, right? Maybe not near the top of the, not as far as going for the championship, which was once the goal. But as far as making it to Omaha, would you say they have pretty good odds at that?
Yeah, I do. I mean, they're, I think, 6th in the league right now at 4-5. And so, I mean, you're right. Like, what it comes down to at this point is, can you make the Big Ten tournament, and then can you make a run? I mean, that's really what their season boils down to. And so they're, they're 4-5. You got to be in the top 8 out of 13. You got to make the top 8 to get into the tournament in Omaha. And historically, you look back at the last 4 or 5 years since the Big Ten has been a 13-team league when it added Maryland and Rutgers to make the tournament pretty much without exception, you got to be about 500. If you can go 12-12, that'll be good enough to get you in. So really the question for Nebraska is, can they go 8-7 over their last 15 games and make the tournament? I think they can. I think you look at their opponents, Michigan State, Minnesota are not good teams. Indiana has been a good team. They lost a lot, similar to Nebraska. That's a winnable series. And, Illinois is another one who's been pretty good, but I think it's very realistic to think that they can at least win 8 games out of 15 down the stretch, maybe a couple more, finish in that 6th or 7th range. And then again, you get in there and anything can happen. So again, you look at a game like tonight, it doesn't mean much in terms of kind of how you'll view the rest of the season. That's going to come down to some of these Big Ten games. And again, make the postseason tournament, see what happens. It's happened before. And because the Big Ten is struggling relative to what it has been the last handful of years, I think Nebraska's got a pretty good chance to at least play into the conference tournament.
Hey, Evan, are you got plans to go check out Snoop or the concert tonight, or are you just going to do baseball and sit out in the beautiful weather and enjoy that? And also, what type of memories did you have back in 1998, that you remember that was special to you?
From what was 1998?
Yeah, was there anything that special that happened? I got a couple of things that happened to me. I mean, I can share, but we're talking about memories that we've had.
We're just going down memory lane.
Yeah, we're going down memory lane, just things that have happened from 96, 97, 98. There anything special? Did you have a baby? Did you have a girlfriend that you admired? Did you get bad grades back in 1998?
Well,
what was going on with you?
1998, I would have been in middle school, so I was not looking to start a family at that point. Honestly, like for me, and I think this is true generally for a lot of sports fans, like that's when you really come into your own, and in terms of like the teams and the things that you enjoy watching. And so for me, I'll remember 1998 as the great home run race. That was the Sammy Sosa, Mark McGwire race. I mean, I stayed up and watched a lot of late night WGN Cubs games. I was team Sammy Sosa at that time. And I don't know. I think that's really, I would say that baseball is my favorite sport. And that was a big reason why I was just watching all the excitement there. And I think Fox cut into they had a national broadcast of the Cardinals Cubs game when McGwire broke the record, and I think it was September at that point. And so I just that whole season was really fun to follow. I still am a Cubs fan. I think that's probably the year that started. They ended up in the wild card game. And then getting swept by the Braves after that. But I suppose when I think of 98, I think of that Kerry Wood 20 strikeout game, and there were a couple perfect games in the majors, and so that was the year I probably fell in love with baseball.
That's awesome. There's a lot of I do the same thing too. Like you kind of try to think of your own life, but really you just kind of think of what was going on in sports at the time and what you kind of you're stuck most to. That's how I begin my memories when I go back and look. I did want to get to this because it's kind of the news of the last couple hours, though, is that Casey Rogers has entered the transfer portal. We've kind of been debating here how much of a loss that is. To me, not necessarily just Casey Rogers himself, but just because of how thin that defensive line is. I think it's I'm pretty close to just hitting the panic button.
Yeah, it's a surprise. I was surprised to see that he made that move because he was set to get a lot of opportunities. And I mean, one of the main reasons that the spring game was not able to be played in the conventional manner was because the defensive line didn't have enough bodies to split into 2 teams. And then you take away now a guy who, other than Ty Robinson, was probably the most assured to start and get a lot of run up in the trenches. Yeah, that's a surprise. And so whether he has another destination in mind or whether he wants to be done or whether it's something else, I suppose we'll have to wait and see. But it does continue a trend where, attrition has hit this group hard. I mean, they lost Ben Stilley to graduation, but there are 3 other guys who could have been starters on this team that decided to leave. Damian Daniels is going into the draft, of course. Deontre Thomas left football. Jordan Riley transferred to Oregon. And all of this with Tony Tuioti leaving their defensive line coach, and now Mike Dawson sliding back. So there's a lot of action, a lot of activity going on behind the scenes there. And so, I mean, you look at what they have now. Ty Robinson's the only player in that group who has starting experience. They have a lot of young underclassmen who maybe look the part but have no experience or Big Ten seasoning to speak of. And so, I mean, you look at their pursuit of O'Shawn Mathis, the TCU transfer. I mean, that was a big deal before. It's an even bigger deal now. You have to think that they're going to continue to pursue some other options in the transfer portal as well. But I mean, certainly this group as it stands, you're not feeling great about it by any means going into the season. Not a lot of experience, not a lot of, ability to rush the passer that they've demonstrated, at least at the college level. So a surprising move and probably the position that was least able to afford another loss too.
Yeah, it's a tough one to kind of swallow as a Nebraska fan, but at the same time, as we look at it, I guess we've kind of had some questions again on the text line about the frustrations, I suppose, with the transfer portal. Wondering, is this a Nebraska problem? Is this a college football problem? And certainly it's a college football problem. I think West Virginia had like 6 starters enter the transfer portal off their defense. So a lot of headaches for fans out there, even more so for coaches. Do you have a problem with this new look college football? I know a lot of people don't like it because it's not what they're used to or accustomed to or grew up with. But if you think about it, college football has been ever evolving, and it continues today. But it certainly is a headache, the transfer portal. But I think at the same time, outside of the news today, where you kind of get down on yourself, it's to me, it's been quite a ride and kind of keeps college football, newsworthy.
Well, there's no doubt about that. And if this is the new norm, and it appears to be, I mean, this is sort of that third portal season in the off season, right? Like you have the one immediately after the regular season that's going to happen in early December. You'll have the other one in the run up in January, in the run up to when the semester starts. And now you have, this is sort of that third wave, which is coming out of spring ball when guys really start to see, where they stand. They've gone through spring and they feel like they either will have an opportunity at their school or they won't. And so that's, I think, one of the things that makes Casey Rogers' situation so much more interesting is because he would have had a ton of opportunities in terms of on-field stuff. I mean, that's generally the primary reason why guys move on, is to find that opportunity elsewhere. So, he's a guy who has been with Nebraska from the beginning too. I mean, he was part of Scott Frost's first recruiting class in 2018. But it's just the way that college football is going. And like it or not, like it puts players on more of an even playing field with the coaches who, I mean, that was the argument forever, right? Which was, if a coach can leave and take a job somewhere else at the drop of a hat, why does a player need to sit out or be bound by, their national letter of intent? And so now they have that ability to move on. They don't need permission. They don't need a release or anything like that. They're sort of treated like a regular student in that regard. And so, in our culture of promoting individualism and personal freedom, I think college football and college athletics in general have caught up to that. And it's just the reality that we live in, for better or for worse.
Evan, you made a point there that speaks volumes. I think it's kind of scary when you look at it, right? Because like you said, this was the opportunity. He came in with Frost. This is the opportunity for him to now basically have carte blanche in the area. He's going to be sought after and needed in that specific position. And then for him to break on that's something I view internally and have kind of, some apprehension and worry about. How do you view that part of it? Because that is something that you really have to think about. Could it have changed had they won more games? Had they won, a couple of those games we just talked about on the previous segment? Had they beaten Oklahoma? Had they beaten maybe 2 of those games, maybe a Michigan or won the Michigan State game? Would that have maybe changed his mind? How do you view that dynamic? And is there any pause or worry that comes to you with regards to that move that he just made?
Well, yeah, I mean, it is. It's because, like I said, it's not the standard motivation that a guy has for entering the portal. So, I mean, certainly, like, losing has worn down, I think, a lot of people. He's someone who's been in the program long enough to have absorbed a lot of those losses, a lot of bowl-less seasons. And so, if they had won a few more games, who knows if that would have made a difference. It'll be interesting to see what that reason is, because he sat out the spring with an injury, but he was a vocal leader throughout. He's somebody who's spoken with the media quite a bit and been somebody who's been pretty bought in when he has been here. A couple other just pure speculation possibilities, maybe it has something to do with NIL and wanting to get a little more money in that way, because again, he could in theory still come back even though he has entered the portal. We've seen Feldarius Payne do that. He came back out of the portal to Nebraska once before he moved on. And I think the other possibility is, even though he's entered the portal, maybe he doesn't end up anywhere. I mean, he's 23. He's from the East Coast. He loves hockey. He loves lacrosse. He grew up in a lacrosse family. So it's clear that he has had other interests outside of football. And maybe, you reach a point where you just kind of say, I've put my body on the line enough and I want to do something else. So again, I don't know that that's the case, but I think that's another possibility, as these guys continue to have an opportunity every year to kind of reassess where they are and what they want to do.
Great stuff from Evan Bland of the Omaha World Herald. Evan, thanks for joining us today, and enjoy some baseball tonight.
Thanks, guys. See ya.
Yep, there he goes, Evan Bland of the Omaha World Herald, set to join us every Wednesday. So always enjoy that conversation with him. It is time for our game show, though. It is time for your chance to win $15 to Buffalo Wings and Rings. Call right now, 402-464-5685. Strick's already warming up there for Shootout with Strick. Again, if you answer the questions, if you're smarter than Strick is what it comes down. No, it's really, some of it's just luck. 4 either or questions and then the money ball. So a total of 6 points. You just have to outscore Strick. If you tie, we go to the tiebreaker. So we've got a plan for that as well. Call right now, 402-464-5685, and try your luck in Shootout with Strick.
Early break with Sip and Jake.
And we're joined by Yoshi Hardrick, former Nebraska offensive lineman, currently a Winnipeg Blue for the CFL, 2-time champion. What was it like going from the Big 12 to the Big 10 1 year to the next?
Well, my first defensive end was 280 to 300 pounds. And every team we played had 2 tight ends in.
Yeah.
I was like, we're about to play some football.
Early break with Sip and Jake from 6 to 8 every weekday morning on 93.7 The Ticket. 93.7 The Ticket. Fox KFXL weather. Sponsored by Security First Bank. A relationship you can count on.
Your Lincoln forecast today, some showers this morning and breezy conditions. We'll see some clearing later on the day, though. High near 68 today. Tonight, mostly clear skies and a low near 41. And tomorrow, see some sunny skies in the morning and maybe a chance of some showers and storms later. See a high near 73. I'm meteorologist Kyle Kleckner for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
There's nothing quite like the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese beef. The Mercado offers unique ingredients you can't find anywhere else, open every day from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The full-service butcher shop and retail store is wonderful for meat lovers with their exclusive certified Piedmontese beef and assorted sausages, plus other quality meats, including pork, chicken, and a wide range of the freshest seafood. Plus, every Friday from 11 to 2, the Mercado serves up the best lunch in town on their Friday Feast menu. Stop in at the Mercado today at 84th and Havelock or visit their website at cpmercado.com to see current deals.
If you need to sell Ritchie Brothers' new Lincoln storage yard lets you free up space at your property and get local access to all Ritchie Brothers auctions. Drop your equipment off and sell it online at any Ritchie Brothers auction, Iron Planet, or via Marketplace E. The yard is at 8801 Highway 6 in Lincoln. It's secure and makes for easy in-person buyer inspections and pickup. Take advantage of this yard to sell at Ritchie Brothers Great Plains Regional Auction on June 16th. For details, visit rbauction.com/Lincoln.
Junior, hurry it up in there. Honey, he's doing it again.
Doing what again?
Practicing for American Idol in the shower. I need in there.
Well, MemberZone is offering no-fee home equity lines of credit. We could use the value of the house to
add a second bathroom? Say no more.
From adding another shower to all of life's in-betweens, you're headed in the right direction with a MemberZone home equity line of credit. Learn more at memberzonecu.org. Restrictions may apply. Federally insured by NCUA.
Brown Shoe Fit is gearing up for spring with new inventory on the way. They're stocking up on new spring sandals and athletic shoes daily in brands like Brooks, Hoka, Keen, Merrell, On, and many, many more. Browns has the local professionals to get the proper fit, aided by their high-tech foot scanner by Atrax. Spring is the season to be active and busy. Don't let your feet lose their support with old rundown shoes or sandals. Stop by Brown's Shoe Fit today, just south of 66th and Q in Lincoln.
They say one great thing leads to another, and that's especially true when you visit a Great Clips salon. When you sit down for a haircut with a skilled and friendly stylist at one of our thousands of convenient Great Clips locations, they'll not only make your hair look great, they'll make you feel great too. And that's something you can't help but share with the world. Download our online check-in app today and opt in to get a Ready Next text when you're up next. Great Clips. It's going to be great.
Work, laundry, dishes. I was exhausted. I needed a vacation, but finding a way to pay for it, not so easy. Then I found it, a research study at Solarion. I searched the studies and found a perfect match for me. It was so easy. I earned cash for the study and booked that vacation. Plus, I made an impact on medical research. Find a study and sign up today at helpresearch.com.
You should consider the risks of the research before you agree to participate.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and it's been a great start here to the year as 2022 new inventory continues to roll in. Our pre-owned lot remains full, and we are selling at a record pace. I was just down at Koppel talking about a new order for myself, and they let me know I could actually start ordering a 2023 here later this spring. So stop on in to get your new 2022, your pre-owned vehicle, or maybe talk about ordering here for 2023. Check them out online at koppelcars.com. You'll be glad you did.
James Enterprise Incorporated, that company that hauls your gravel, rocks, and material for your farm or construction site, says thank you to the people of the healthcare community for putting yourself in the way of danger to save the public. That is what it means to be a hero and to build a beautiful legacy. This message brought to you by James Enterprise Incorporated. For all your hauling of rock, gravel, and materials, call them at 402-432-6740. That's 402-432-6740.
It's time to play Shootout with Strick. Call now, 464-5685, to take your shot against Eric Strickland. Shootout with Strick. Brought to you by Buffalo Wings and Rings.
Time to play the game!
It is time for Shootout with Strick here on the block. Strick's been warming up through the commercial break, so he's ready to go. He's not gonna pull a muscle at all. He's ready for Shootout with Strick here on 93.7 The Ticket. $15 to Buffalo Wings and Rings on the line, and on the Honda of Lincoln hotline, 402-464-5685. We have Kent. Kent, how do you feel about your knowledge of NBA villains? That's what we're doing based on Game 2 tonight, where Kyrie is certainly going to be a villain in the Garden. What do you think about your knowledge about the NBA villains, Kent?
Well, I guess we're going to find out.
Yeah, we're going to find out. Okay to go about it. We'll see. We'll start with Strick, and then we will go on over to Kent. So Kent knows.
I used to watch for them. Whenever I turned the corner off a pick and roll, those are the ones I was watching for. So I may know a little bit.
Yeah, you might know a little bit. We'll see. I mean, you played with some of these guys, I believe. So that'll be fun. Here we go. Are you ready, Strick?
Let's go.
All right, we'll go in 3, 2, 1. This Hawks point guard is now the Knicks' main villain, Kevin Huerter or Trae Young?
Trae Young.
That is correct. One of the goats of trash talk. This player finally got a ring after being traded to the Celtics from the T-Wolves. Kevin Garnett or Rajon Rondo?
Kevin Garnett.
That is correct. The Timberwolves point guard and journeyman just faced his former Clippers team, Chris Paul or Patrick Beverley?
Patrick Beverley.
That's correct. Bill Laimbeer got ejected after body slamming him in the 1987 Eastern Conference Finals. Dennis Johnson or Larry Bird?
Dennis Johnson.
It's actually Larry Bird, and this Pacers villain was in the middle of the malice of the palace after being shoved. What'd you say?
Ron Artest. I said Ron Artest.
Is that what you said?
Yeah.
I couldn't. I think we'll give that one to you then. That's 5 points there. You answered that quickly. I couldn't even spit that out of my mouth. But 5 points. That's a pretty good score there for you. You did miss one, leaving the door open for Kent. Kent, are you ready to go?
Let's do it.
All right, we'll go in 3, 2, 1. The Slim Reaper, Kevin Durant, became a villain after joining what NBA super team, Warriors or Clippers?
Clippers.
It's actually the Warriors. This bad boy Pistons point guard had a villain side behind his smile. Isaiah Thomas or Magic Johnson?
Isaiah Thomas.
That is correct. The 76ers guard was wondering why we're talking just about practice. Allen Iverson or Gilbert Arenas?
Iverson.
That's correct. This player became a villain first with the bad boy Pistons before teaming up with Michael Jordan. Rick Mahorn or Dennis Rodman?
Rodman.
That is correct. This Pacers sharpshooter is known for a sideline feud with Spike Lee in the 1994 playoffs.
What was the name again?
This Pacers sharpshooter is known for his sideline feud with Spike Lee in the 1994 playoffs. We'll give you an open shot since Strix was on the line.
I'll give it to him.
Oh, Reggie. Oh my. I can picture his face.
You're off to a good start. That is his first name.
Number 31. I think that was his number. Oh, I'm drawing blanks.
Well, we extended a little bit for you, but I don't know if we can go.
I can't go that far. Look, he was right there too, but I'm going to help you. It's Reggie Miller. Great. Hey, you were right there. You just couldn't pick that out.
Yeah,
I would.
That always is hard. It's hard to come by, but I think Strick is going to get the win today. Thank you for calling in, Kent. But you don't necessarily lose. Hang up now, and you can have just as good a shot as anybody. 402-464-5685. Caller number 3 will win $15 to Buffalo Wings and Rings, as Strick has won 3 in a row now. We'll get to the tiebreaker here in a second, but first we got to give Strick his victory dance there.
Wait, you know what it is. You know what it is.
3 in a row. So now I got to go pull that. I should have had this prepared.
You should have known what it was going to be today. I told you I
were
wasn't
going to lose.
No, last week. No, I told you I ain't no sucker. I ain't going out like no sucker.
So I can go see if I can find that from last week. I don't know what day I saved it because it didn't end up being that you won at the time, but I went out and got it. What was the song title again? Let me look for it here.
The champ is here.
Oh, there it is. There it is. Yeah, we got it here. You've earned this one, Strix, so enjoy it.
The champ is here. The champ is here. The champ is here. The champ is here.
There we go. That's 3 in a row for Strix. 3-0 on the week. I guess you can earn this again because 4 out of 5 gets you this song. So Friday you'll be waiting for that. Congratulations!
I've been waiting on that one the whole week. I've been waiting on that one.
Pop that there for you.
Oh, man, hilarious.
Let's get the tiebreaker. What it would have been though, if he could have thought of the name Miller. He had Reggie down.
He was right on it, and he had the number too. He was right on it. He just
that's just one of those cases. Yeah, when you're on the radio, sometimes it's tough to remember. But okay, Rasheed Wallace
happens to me all the time.
Yeah, Rasheed Wallace holds the NBA record for most career playoff ejections. How many times was Rasheed ejected
in the playoffs?
No, this is just all time or
all time
regular season as well. Yeah,
51.
51. It was actually 29. So Rasheed a much better guy than you give him credit for. Really,
he might have been fined 51 times. So maybe that was what it was. He's been fined a lot.
He did have, I think at some point after getting ejected so many times, he had some public comment about how, the fines didn't really bother him, which was obvious by the amount of times he got ejected. So that was pretty good. Off the text line, he said, you need to give Strick harder questions. I think he's on fire after 3 wins. So he wants the on fire noise. Yeah, you're right. We got the champ.
Oh, yeah. He's on fire. Yeah. I like that one too.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Maybe we'll work some of that into our
No, that's if you go 4 for 5. Like if I go 4 out of 5 on the 4th one, that's the one that's gonna come out. That's the one that's gonna come out. He's on fire. Yeah.
There we go. We'll play for on fire tomorrow. We'll take a quick break for what it's worth as of right now. When we come back, it's a 5 o'clock hour, a second hour here on the block. Plenty to talk about. Deebo Samuel wants to be traded from the 49ers. Different names, interesting. Oscar Tshiebwe coming back to college basketball. Of course, lots of drama in the NBA. We'll get to all of that and continue with the Casey Rogers news coming up next year on the block on 93.7 The Ticket.
Shopping for insurance can be a tedious and frustrating task, but the agents at Brokers Insurance Agency will do the work for you. They have partnered with over 20 of the best insurance carriers in the nation, which allows them to do the shopping all for you. Whether you're looking for business insurance or employee benefits for your company, or you're looking to save money on your home and auto insurance, Brokers Insurance Agency has the agents and solutions to help meet your goals. Call 402-420-5353 or email staff at brokersinsurancenE.com.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and it's been a great start here to the year as 2022 new inventory continues to roll in. Our pre-owned lot remains full, and we are selling at a record pace. I was just down at Koppel talking about a new order for myself, and they let me know I can actually start ordering a 2023 here later this spring. So stop on in to get your new 2022, your pre-owned vehicle, or maybe talk about ordering here for 2023. Check them out online at koppelcars.com. You'll be glad you did.
There's not many things worse than having plumbing issues at your home or business, but it's even worse if the problem isn't fixed correctly. Select Plumbing gets it right the first time, and they specialize in several things: general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate at 402-560-6197. Plus, they're hiring service plumbers. Contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
At first, I was really nervous and intimidated to buy a ring. I wasn't sure what I was getting into.
My experience at Starter Heyman was very easy. I felt like I walked out of Starter Heyman with the ring that was going to make her go wow and say yes.
I love my ring. It is so beautiful. I absolutely love my ring. I get compliments on it all the time. I always tell them Starter Heyman. Yeah, we would definitely recommend Starter Heyman.
Yeah, it was great.
We're definitely coming back.
Sure.
Sauter Heyman Jewelers, Lincoln and Grand Island. SauterHeyman.com.
They say one great thing leads to another, and that's especially true when you visit a Great Clips salon. When you sit down for a haircut with the skilled and friendly stylist at one of our thousands of convenient Great Clips locations, they'll not only make your hair look great, they'll make you feel great too. And that's something you can't help but share with the world. Download our online check-in app today and opt in to get a Ready Next text when you're up next. Great Clips. It's going to be great.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Your Lincoln forecast today, some showers this morning and breezy conditions. See some clearing later on the day, though. High near 68 today. Tonight, mostly clear skies and a low near 41. And tomorrow, see some sunny skies in the morning and maybe a chance of some showers and storms later. See a high near 73. I'm meteorologist Kyle Kleckner for 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com.
Start your Sundays off right with Jeff and Nicole Essink on Fitness Fanatics. Jeff and Nicole discuss health and wellness, how to achieve fitness goals, and more through the life of gym owners and gym goers. It's Fitness Fanatics from 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
If you need to sell equipment and trucks, Ritchie Brothers' new Lincoln Storage Yard lets you free up space at your property and get local access to all Ritchie Brothers auctions. Drop your equipment off and sell it online at any Ritchie Brothers auction, Iron Planet, or via Marketplace E. The yard is at 8801 Highway 6 in Lincoln. It's secure and makes for easy in-person buyer inspections and pickup. Take advantage of this yard to sell at Ritchie Brothers Great Plains Regional Auction on June 16th. For details, visit rbauction.com/Lincoln.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and it's been a great start here to the year as 2022 new inventory continues to roll in. Our pre-owned lot remains full, and we are selling at a record pace. I was just down at Koppel talking about a new order for myself, and they let me know I can actually start ordering a 2023 here later this spring. So stop on in to get your new 2022, your pre-owned vehicle, or maybe talk about ordering here for 2023. Check them out online at koppelcars.com. You'll be glad you did.
Hi, I'm Dr. Rob Rhodes, a Nebraska family practice physician. Are you or someone you love at risk of an opioid overdose? Get the free Opie Rescue app for your phone. Opie Rescue can guide you through the steps of how to respond to an opioid overdose. Be Opie ready. Download Opie Rescue today.
Paid for by the CDC. Sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services and aired in cooperation with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. This is On the Block with Strick and Bach. Nebraska Basketball Hall of Famer and 9-year NBA vet, Eric Strickland.
Strickland for three. He's going to go out of here as the Big 8 tournament champion.
93.7 The Ticket veteran and Creed stan, Jake Bakoven.
I love that band, Creed.
Coming at you live from the Coppel Chevrolet GMC studios in the heart of Lincoln, America. On air and online at theticketfm.com. Sponsored by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. This is On the Block with Strick and Bach. Hold up.
Welcome back on the block. E. Strick here on 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. We thank you for joining us on all platforms, and we welcome your interaction with us as you continue to come and find us right here every night, Monday through Friday, from 4 to 6 Central Standard Time. We're right here on the block, and we thank you for joining us on the block. Because you know why? The champ is here. The champ is here. That's where you can find us right here. The champs are right here on the block. Bakoven, my partner, Jake. Tell me something good, man. I got some questions for you. There's some things that really I wanted to ask you about, any memories that you had in 1998.
1998 was I was 8 years old. So, but I was I do start to kind of think of Husker football at that time because unfortunately, right after Nebraska wins the title, 94, 95, 97, that's when I started to I have spotty memories of those being 4, 5, and 7 years old, respectively. But I remember games and where I was at here and there. But starting in 1998, I can kind of remember the ride and, kind of going through the regular season and in all these football seasons. So that's kind of when I begin to remember. Then, of course, the basketball team, too. I mean, you weren't there by this time, but Teron Lue was still there with Cookie Belcher and Vincent Hamilton and your former coach, Danny Neese. So I remember as a kid going down and getting autographs with those guys in 1998. Can't say I have too many more memories, again, outside of sports. Sports guys can kind of link it to the sports programs and what we were doing at the time there. But other than that, yeah, I don't know. Maybe the Titanic came out in 98. I don't know what movies I wouldn't have saw then.
So, yeah, I think a big one for me was that was the year that we actually started the lockout, which the lockout commenced and there was no agreement between us and the NBA at that time. And salary issues was a problem. That lockout was very long. It lasted 204 days. And it shortened the season to 50 games, in which I believe San Antonio ended up winning that one in that lockout season.
Oh, yeah.
But then there was something else I do remember, too. It was that was the year that Bill Fitch, longtime Clippers coach, won his 2000th NBA game. And guess who it was against?
You guys.
The Dallas Mavericks. 97 to 88 in that game. That was an injury-riddled year for me. Didn't play as much, and that's probably why we lost that game. Because they didn't give me that good run that game. But it was well, let me just say this. In that particular game, Samaki Walker, my guy. He started that game, played 31 minutes. He was 10 for 19, 52% shooting. He had 13 rebounds. He had a double-double that game. He was a plus 14. Michael Finley, negative 11. Sean Bradley, plus 1. Dennis Scott was on that team, 3D. 2 for 5 from 3, negative 14. Robert Pack, one of my close friends, was on that team, negative 16. He started the game. Hubert Davis, we all know who Hubert Davis is, 5 for 13. 1 for 4 from 3. He didn't play as well. 11 points, though. And everybody was pretty much in the negative, but East Trick, 8 minutes in that game, 2 for 4, 1 for 1 from 3, 2 rebounds in 8 minutes, 1 turnover, one assist, 5 points, but a +10.
There you go.
See, if they would have played Stricky a little bit more, we might play a win.
You guys did, you said the Spurs one, and of course that was Tim Duncan coming to join David Robinson. Was the rivalry there kind of between Dallas and San Antonio yet, or were the Spurs had to kind of arrive still?
No, that wasn't a rivalry. They kind of were still just getting it turned around again, and they were just really starting to make their dynasty runs. So we didn't really have many rivalries at that point. We did beat those Tim Duncan teams, pretty much on a regular. I don't think they ever swept us. I would say more for them, it would have been Houston at that time.
Okay.
Houston, those teams was put together. Obviously they had, Scottie Pippen at one point.
Oh, yeah.
That was the Scottie Pippen, Drexler, Olajuwon was still there. They were deep. So I would have said that would have been their rivalry at that point.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
that was the dynamic between the Texas NBA teams. It always seems to be kind of heating up when they get meet in the playoffs, at least.
It heated up right after. It really got heated, I would say, right about the time the last year that I was there in 2000, it started getting heated up, and right after that, it really got heated up. That's when they started really getting after it, and they won those 50 games, and they were going back and forth. So those are memories for there. Now, tell me something, man. We got a legacy that popped up before we get into the next segment. We're talking about a Big Ten center is making his way in the NBA draft, but tell me about what you think about the Bobby Newcomb legacy offer that popped up.
Yeah, I think it's very cool. Speaking of 1998, of course, Bobby Newcomb and Eric Crouch were kind of battling it out for who was going to be the quarterback, of the team. Would really come to a head in the 1998 preseason going into that year. So I won't cover that tomorrow, though. But it's very cool. Bobby Newcomb, around this age, when I was around 8, that's the jersey everybody had. They had the number 12 Bobby Newcomb jersey because he looked to be the future, especially coming after 97 when he was a wingback and making a lot of plays there for him and helping them win the title. Very cool. Now he's a coach. A coach, I believe, out in Arizona. I have to double check. But a high school coach there. Now his son, Jeremiah Newcomb, a cornerback, has just received an offer from Nebraska. He's the younger brother of current UCLA Bruin Isaiah Newcomb. So Bobby's already got a kid playing in Power 5 football. But yeah, I think it's kind of cool. Jeremiah Newcomb, a 2024 cornerback. Has some pretty good stats to go along with the legacy name. I think he had 7 picks last year. That's pretty good numbers. And he was running on offense as well. So as we look at these legacy kids, obviously Dylan Raiola is going to get a lot of the attention, but I wouldn't mind having some more of the Newcombs arriving in Lincoln. I think that'd be pretty cool.
I think that would be pretty dope. I mean, I'm sure we'll delve deeper into that and kind of a little bit about him and his numbers and what the outlook may look for that possibly happen. Especially, when you look at the draft prospects of Cam Taylor-Britt, and you can start to sell those types of things as young recruits start to fill in spots there. We have some big news though coming out of the Big Ten. We didn't know what to expect. Obviously, one of the leaders in the Big Ten, one of the big boys of the Big Ten, Kofi Cockburn, decided to enter into the draft. One of the things that's unique about this entrance is that this is his 3rd time. He has no opportunity of coming back. The rules of the NCAA is you have 2 times that you can pop into the draft, kind of test the waters, dip into the pool, see how cool it is or see how warm it is, and decide to pop out of it. But he took the merge. He submerged. He dove in, and this is the last time he can do so. So that changes the whole landscape there in the Big Ten and what Illinois was hoping to bring back and make another run and hopefully go deep. But how do you view the Kofi Cockburn jumping into the NBA draft?
Well, it's a big move, like you said, in the Big Ten. I think if he comes back, Illinois would be among the favorites. Now they're kind of thin, because they do lose Trent Frazier. They lose Alfonso Plumbers, a couple of guys. Granderson started for them at times, too. We all know, or maybe if you've kind of followed along, Andre Curbelo transferred to St. John's. So for Brad Underwood in the group, it really, I think it's going to be pretty frustrating. I know it was frustrating the last 2 years. They didn't make it to the Sweet 16 with Kofi Cockburn and Ayo Dosunmu. But kind of looking back on it now, I think they're kind of in a rebuild mode for Illinois. So specifically for them, I think it's frustrating. I don't think it's the right move for Kofi Cockburn. For him, it might be. If he said his dream's always been to play in the NBA. I don't think his game translates very well. So I don't know if he's going to get much of a shot there, but he's a big body. Maybe kind of gets the Taco Fall type of status where he's on a team in case you need him at some point. Somebody puts out somebody huge, and so very limited matchup there. But I think that he would have been great for a return to college basketball, and that's what happened with Oscar Tshiebwe today, the National Player of the Year for Kentucky. Same type of player, I guess. A double-double, doesn't stretch the floor. Doesn't necessarily offer a lot for what the modern day NBA does, but I think college basketball could be kind of the land of the bigs, and the guys that kind of play traditional ball down in the post. And I would just love to have seen Kofi Cockburn come back one more year, but it does kind of open up things at the top of the Big Ten.
A little bit of information. Kofi Cockburn is a 7-foot center. He's one of 4 players in college hoops last season to average a double-double in points and rebounds, averaging 21 points a game with 11 rebounds per game. And as you stated, this is his longtime goal. He here's the thing, and here's the situation. A lot of what you said, a lot of college guys, they take stardom, especially with that size and those abilities. They take stardom in the collegiate areas, and then they dip into the draft. And so what you find is, here's the question, and here's the problem. He's not ranked in the CBS Sports Top 60 big board. He's not even on it.
All right.
So this is for the 2022 draft. Doesn't even hit the radar for that, right? So that was something that you should have been definitely eyeing if you're somebody looking to pop out there. That's why I thought he should have come back, right? So the game has changed, as you said. You got defending of space. They like open floor. They like space inside in the paint, especially on the offensive side. And he's not a real threat there. And so therefore the traditional back-to-back basketball player just really doesn't exist in the league anymore. Here's the issue. He is not Joel Embiid.
Right.
He is not Nikola Jokic. He's not even the Lopez brothers. Right?
Right.
There's maybe 1 or 2 guys. And here's the thing. I think he has the potential to be a Steven Adams. Maybe.
I can see that, yeah.
Now, here's why I don't think he's not. He's not. He's very strong. He's not as athletic as Steven Adams, and he's not Shaq dominant. Right?
Yeah.
And here's why I say that. Although his rebound numbers are at 10 or 11, his block numbers are very low, only having 1 block a game. So if you're going to be that type of guy, that number's got to be in the 3, especially in college, in the 3 to 4 range a game.
Yeah.
And that's where I see the problem being. To only have 1 block a game, that means your athleticism, your timing is not there. And to be that size, you're not going to be as dominant. And that's where I see there's a problem for him going to the next level.
Yeah, I mean he's not very athletic, doesn't have the foot speed, but he's
not the hops either. If he has Shaq type hops, then that'd be something different. He doesn't elevate very well either. Go ahead.
That's what, but I loved watching him in college, and I love watching Illinois because it was a reminder of those times when Shaq would just kind of dominate the post and kind of open up shots for his guys on the outside, and Illinois did a good job using that. I mean, that was an entertaining team to watch because of that, and it kind of brought you back, or it's a different look than what you see a lot of teams running with. However, I don't know if I can say that it's the wrong decision because I don't think those things are changing, right? I think it's kind of comes down to his decision. I don't think that he necessarily a year coming back and all of a sudden he'd be a first round draft prospect or even, much higher in the second round than what he might go if he does get picked. It might just be for him a time to understand and hear all of those things and maybe continue to try to work on them. I think there's still, there's going to be plenty of professional basketball opportunities for him, just not I don't think in the NBA too much, but his goal is what it is. He was an All-American already. So maybe, he feels like this is a good time to go for it. And so that's why, that's why I can't say it's a bad decision, because I don't think that his prospects for moving up either way, for fans' sake and for all of us that love college basketball, it would have been great to see him again. But if he's ready to move on, then I guess that's where he goes. And it's kind of interesting. I'll cheer for him. I hope that he gets it. I think is incredible to watch at the college level. But his prospects aren't going anywhere in the NBA unless he can turn back time. Do you think that in the mid 90s he would have been a lottery pick?
I mean, you look at some of the centers, the forwards, those guys that were there definitely in the 90s. He definitely would have been a first round pick. There's no question about it. But the game has tremendously changed. And speaking of the game, I mean, we've talked about the Big Ten and, a lot of the things that are happening and people that are leaving and going, what the boards are going to look like, what the mock drafts are looking like. A change has been made in the Big Ten, and let's discuss that. Hit us on the text line at 402-464-5685 with about this question that I'm about to pose to you. Or also you can hit us on the other platforms and tap in and or call us on the Sauter Heyman, not the Sauter Heyman, but the Honda Lincoln hotline at 402-464-5685. We would love to hear your perspective on this, because the Big Ten tournament has now left Indianapolis and is moved north to Minneapolis. How do you view that? Tell me, Bach, how that makes sense, or does it make sense, or is that a wise move?
I don't think it's a bad one. Again, I think you have your choices. I like the idea of moving it around to a degree. I mean, I think if you have a solid location, they've done it in Chicago, they've done it in New York. They're kind of people made fun of that because Rutgers was just kind of the one, but at least they got something out of bringing Rutgers into the Big Ten. So they did it at Madison Square Garden one time. I don't think that that's a natural fit. I like the Big Ten, or excuse me, the Big East out there. I still think that makes sense. For the Big Ten, I wouldn't mind if you maybe had it in the United Center every year. I don't think that Indianapolis necessarily is that sort of city that I just want to keep it in, and I don't think Minneapolis will be either. So if you don't have the one location that kind of brands itself to your conference tournament, like Kansas City, I thought was great for the Big 12 tournament. I don't feel like it has to stick. So you've got enough big cities in your footprint that I think you can make it somewhat of a traveling act, and that's what they're doing. And I think the Twin Cities will be a fun change in pace, if nothing else.
Well, my memories of the Twin Cities is it's already iceberg slim and cold. And I remember when we went up there to play Minnesota, and again, my target city, my target center days of going to Minnesota was just always, I was glad that I was not a rookie as much as playing up there and having to do rookie duties, and they stopped that. But I remember we flew in there and it was a blizzard, and I thought that was the greatest pilot on earth that was able to land with that crosswind and that snow blizzard. But it was funny to listen to Mikey Moore and those guys in the back. Oh Lord, no! Oh, we was dropping and doing all. Yeah, it was funny to listen to that. But at the end of the day, too, man, we got off the plane and we wanted to go get something. And this is the time where we didn't understand that Minnesota was built to have those corridors that basically can take you all over downtown and you can stay inside.
Oh,
we
yeah.
didn't know that. We started going outside, and I'm talking about frozen nose sickles and trying to dip into the little corners to get out of the wind just to get some pizza. I about froze my butt off, and I said, I may have to miss Big Ten basketball up in Minneapolis in the cold. No.
That's not gonna happen.
My boy, shout out to Gary Trent. I might have to get him on the show sooner or later. Gary Trent, my boy, he stayed up there. You better than me, G Trent. I can't do it. What does the text line say? Does anybody think that's a wise move? What they saying?
No response yet on the text line. It's maybe not a whole lot of Minneapolis fans out there.
Man, my memories of that is not working. But that's okay because we can take a break right now. We got to take a break anyway. We're getting up against it, and we'll come back and talk a little bit after this segment of Hitting Hardwood with E. Strick. We'll talk a little NBA basketball and what's going on in the playoffs, and is there going to be some changes made, or some teams going to start running away with it right after this on the block.
They say one great thing leads to another, and that's especially true when you visit a Great Clips salon. When you sit down for a haircut with the skilled and friendly stylist at one of our thousands of convenient Great Clips locations, they'll not only make your hair look great, they'll make you feel great too. And that's something you can't help but share with the world. Download our online check-in app today and opt in to get a Ready Next text when you're up next. Great Clips. It's going to be great.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Your Lincoln forecast today, some showers this morning and breezy conditions. We'll see some clearing later on the day, though. High near 68 today. Tonight, mostly clear skies and a low near 41. And tomorrow, see some sunny skies in the morning and maybe a chance of some showers and storms later. See a high near 73. I'm meteorologist Kyle Kleckner for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Start your Sundays off right with Jeff and Nicole Essink on Fitness Fanatics. Jeff and Nicole discuss health and wellness, how to achieve fitness goals, and more through the life of gym owners and gym goers. It's Fitness Fanatics from 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Southeast Community College has learning centers in Falls City, Hebron, Nebraska City, Plattsmouth, Wahoo, and York so that you can take credit and non-credit classes at a center nearby without having to travel an hour or more to campus. By taking online classes and those at a learning center, you can earn your degree from SEC where and when it's convenient for you, all at a cost that won't stand in the way of your education. Learn more about SCC's learning centers at southeast.edu/learning centers. SCC, your path to possible.
There's not many things worse than having plumbing issues at your home or business, but it's even worse if the problem isn't fixed correctly. Select Plumbing gets it right the first time, and they specialize in several things: general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate at 402-560-6197. Plus, they're hiring service plumbers. Contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and it's been a great start here to the year as 2022 new inventory continues to roll in. Our pre-owned lot remains full, and we are selling at a record pace. I was just down at Koppel talking about a new order for myself, and they let me know I can actually start ordering a 2023 here later this spring. So stop on in to get your new 2022, your pre-owned vehicle, or maybe talk about ordering here for 2023. Check them out online at koppelcars.com. You'll be glad you did.
Tune in every Monday morning throughout the summer at 6:45 a.m. for golf course reviews on the Nebraska Golf Passport Early Break Golf Tour with Jake Sorensen and Steve Sipple on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Work, laundry, dishes. I was exhausted. I needed a vacation, but finding a way to pay for it, not so easy. Then I found it. A research study at Solarion. I searched the studies and found a perfect match for me. It was so easy. I earned cash for the study and booked that vacation. Plus, I made an impact on medical research. Find a study and sign up today at helpresearch.com.
You should consider the risks of the research before you agree to participate.
If you need to sell equipment and trucks, Ritchie Brothers' new Lincoln Storage Yard lets you free up space at your property and get local access to all Ritchie Brothers auctions. Drop your equipment off and sell it online at any Ritchie Brothers auction, Iron Planet, or via Marketplace E. The yard is at 8801 Highway 6 in Lincoln. It's secure and makes for easy in-person buyer inspections and pickup. Take advantage of this yard to sell at Ritchie Brothers Great Plains Regional Auction on June 16th. For details, visit rbauction.com/Lincoln. Brown Shoe Fit is gearing up for spring with new inventory on the way. They're stocking up on new spring sandals and athletic shoes daily in brands like Brooks, Hoka, Keen, Merrell, On, and many, many more. Browns has the local professionals to get the proper fit, aided by their high-tech foot scanner by Atrax. Spring is the season to be active and busy. Don't let your feet lose their support with old rundown shoes or sandals. Stop by Brown's Shoe Fit today, just south of 66th and Q in Lincoln.
Back to On the Block with Strick and Bach on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We're back on the block for our Hitting the Hardwood segment. Eric Strickland, E-Strick 20. You can find me on Twitter if you want to check me out there. I tap in some. You might hear me pop in and do a little something there. Jake Bakoven there at Jake Bakoven on Twitter as well. On the block, we're sponsored by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. You can always find us tapping in on some meat there as well. Sometimes we'll pop out there and have a little segment whenever I'm in town, which will be in a few weeks, actually. So you never know. You never know where you'll find us on the block. But on our Hitting the Hardwood segment, we have a few things that we want to discuss. First of all, let's talk a little bit about what's going on in the NBA. And as far as, you know, the games that have already transpired. 2 games have already happened for some of the series, and then some will be happening again tonight. Let's start with the Pelicans. The Pelicans against the Phoenix Suns. They had a little trouble last night. Your boy was going nuts. He was easily closing in on a 50-60 piece in Devin Booker. And then, in the third quarter, trying to track down a defensive play on a little fast break action, and ends up kind of coming up a little lame and grabbing his hamstring. How big of a hurt do you think that'll be to them? It definitely hurt them in this game. They ended up losing by 11 to the Pelicans. Do you think now the Pelicans' perspective of getting a great upset, do you think it'll be one of the greatest upsets in history, or do you just think that maybe they'll be able to kind of, work out some of those details, or, they played without Booker before. Do you think that Booker is such a big addition, a big piece of the puzzle of getting them to the next level of winning a championship that, in this series, it doesn't matter?
Yeah, it looks like from what it's worth, I might miss the next couple games because of this, and I think that's absolutely huge. I mean, this, and I do think it would be maybe the biggest upset of all time. We talked about the We Believe Warriors back in the day with Baron Davis and Steven Jackson, and some of those guys that they had upsetting the Mavericks, and that was a huge. It was a lot of fun. That was a fun team. Michael Pietrus, one of my favorite guys on that team, very fun to watch. But this is the play-in Pelicans. This is a team that was 36-46 in the regular season, played themselves in. They obviously beat the Clippers, who had a better record, a better side of 500 record. Paul George goes down. The Pelicans aren't supposed to be here, and really, I don't really think they should be. I think the play-in should probably have a cutoff if your team is that much lower than the next couple teams above you at that spot. But the NBA is trying it out, and they're taking advantage of it. And you're right. I mean, Devin Booker was going off, dapping babies on the sidelines, just doing really great job in the first half, on pace for 60. Certainly makes a big difference, and we'll see how it all turns out. This would be the biggest upset in NBA history, and for what it's worth, they put the pieces together, because as I talk about altogether, that team not great for the season, but they had a trade late in the year to get CJ McCollum to make this push. And then one thing that we don't talk about, we were talking about Kawhi, when's he going to return, certain guys when they're going to return. Could Zion make a surprise appearance at some point for the Pelicans? I don't think that it's not even whispers right now, so I don't necessarily think that that's in the works, but certainly could be a booster shot to this franchise that is struggling. Like the perception is Zion wants his way out the door. Anthony Davis already pushed his way out of the at the door for the Pelicans, so they need some sort of momentum in their franchise, and this would be huge. I mean, this again I think would be the biggest upset of all time, considering the win gap there, because it's not just that the Pelicans were not a great regular season team, it's that the Suns won 63 games.
Yeah, and I think that is a huge point. I think if you also want to retain them, you've got to show and prove that you're going to compete, and this would go a long way in that aspect of maybe hoping to keep Zion there. And look what they did without you. And so how much more could they do with you? So that is something definitely to assess. The next one we're not going to talk too much about, other than the fact that, you know, Trey is instigator number one, in that he's always going to spark some type of flame. But this doesn't even look like really it's going to be a series. They also have played their way into this, and they just the Miami Heat just look too strong. They're up 2-0, and it doesn't even been close. So how do you see this continuing, or do you think the Hawks are going to pull it off? I actually think it ends in 5, but that's just my thought.
Yeah, I don't think that they're going to pull it off. I think that the Heat are really strong. The surprise to me still kind of comes with Jimmy Butler, right? And Jimmy, if you watched last night, Jimmy Butler closed this game out on an absolute heater, ended up with 45 points, I believe, to end the night. And he's a guy that doesn't stretch the floor particularly well. So, when he gets going, it's kind of fun when he does. So I always wonder, because he kind of pushes his way off of different teams in the past, doesn't have a great relationship with Fred Hoiberg from his time in Chicago. Is Jimmy Butler likable? Because I feel like at times he's definitely not, and he kind of goes against the whole team, in certain spots that he's been in. Minnesota, obviously, it didn't turn out well for him there. In Chicago, kind of started calling out the younger guys. But with the Heat, surprisingly, and I know it's bubble, but made the run as the number one for that team all the way to the finals, and now they got the number one seed with him there. A lot of help on that team. So, I mean, there is that, but I'm just surprised. I still continue to be surprised that he could be the number one on a contending team. And I think the Heat, as it is right now, are a contending team.
Yeah, I think they did a good job of surrounding him. I think some of the additions that they made to the team has boded well for them as well. So I think I just think they're in the East that is just such a gauntlet right now. I just don't know where they fare, but they've gotten there before. So I can't overlook them, but Jimmy Butler being a 1, that kind of holds me back a little bit. I mean, it's very similar to DeMar DeRozan, being a 1, just the mid-range, complete, streaky, can be inconsistent, goes off, then could disappear on you. So those are some of the things that you have worry about in that specific series. But the one that's intriguing to me is definitely this 2-7 with the Minnesota Timberwolves now at 1-1. You not only got Ja, talking about telling the media, the fans, and everybody else, you jump off the bandwagon, stay over there. He's having those type of conversations. But dads are getting involved, and there's a lot of trash talking going on with that series. And one way to the Timberwolves, the next way bounce back, blowout to the Grizzlies. So what's going to happen tonight there up in Minnesota? I mean, not tonight, but Thursday up in Minnesota.
Yeah, it's a great series. Too bad I couldn't watch it last night because it's on NBA TV, which I don't have. That seems to be the one frustration I continue to have with the playoffs. But TNT and ESPN, they only have so many time slots, I suppose. But in any case, I think it's going to be a battle of the two youngest teams in the playoffs, I believe. So we'll kind of see how it plays out. I was surprised the Timberwolves stole game 1. I think Memphis ultimately will take away the series. I mean, they've been good without their star. They've been good with him, and I think that will continue. But I think it's going to be a tough out, and I'll cheer for Karl Anthony Towns. I'll cheer for that Minnesota Timberwolves team when I can. But at the same time, it's hard because they've come up short in so many of these games. I think they already had their moment as far as the play-in game goes, and hopefully that was special because I think eventually the Grizzlies will take care of them.
Another one that just doesn't look like it's going to really pan out. It may be a sweep on this one, I think. The Toronto Raptors and 76ers, not really much to discuss there, just total dominance in every way in that series. I think that the Raptors are just overmatched in that 4-5 matchup. Had a great season, ended up with the 5th seed, but I just think that they just drew the worst of the matchup draws for them. They're down 0-2, and going back to Toronto, the land of you can't go in there. Let me just be quiet on that. But anyway.
Yeah, I know,
yeah. There's not really much to talk about. Let's just pass that series over. I think that's over with. But if you want to talk about it, go ahead.
I'll say real quickly, Tyrese Maxey is an
Yes.
emerging star with that team and could be the difference. I don't think, Harden and Embiid, we got the comparisons to Kobe and Shaq. I'm not hearing that. They're not that dominant of a duo, but Embiid has looked good in this postseason. And if Tyrese Maxey steps up as a legit third, you got to worry about the 76ers coming out of the East there.
I used to referee that young man back up in Dallas when he was still playing in high school. You could tell he was going to be a tremendous talent. I'm going to be honest. I didn't think it would be to this extent this early, but hey, kudos, shout out Dallas to Tyrese Maxey and all the home folk back in D-Town. So look, the one that I was intrigued by, another a bounce back. We've been talking about bounce back. How are you going to bounce back in this second game? Down Luka Doncic, and the continuation of Jalen Brunson just taking over and leading that team and getting them going and got them a return victory, 110-104 Utah Jazz. How you see it faring out there in Utah?
I think that's probably, other than the Nets and Celtics, probably my favorite series, especially if you get Doncic back. I think that those teams are both a little bit limited as far as their ceiling. I don't see either them making the finals, but I think they can give it a run. Obviously, there's the connection there with the Jazz, where it's kind of been the worst kept secret in the NBA that they're looking to maybe break apart Gobert and Mitchell if they don't have a great run this postseason. The Doncic is still looking for his first playoff series victory. He had some great classic battles with the Clippers the last couple of years, but hasn't quite got there. So I'm sad about the injury that's kind of prevented him there. But for what it's worth, the Jazz didn't take enough advantage of it, and that's because of Jalen Brunson. It's not like the Jazz had a particularly bad night. Donovan Mitchell had 30 points like he's always going to give you in the playoffs. It's amazing. Bogdanovich went off for 25. Gobert does what he did on defense, but Jalen Brunson was just too much for him that last time out. So I think ultimately Dallas is going to take this series, and the Jazz are going to look back on that game too and think, man, we didn't take advantage of what Doncic is out.
Yeah, and so I would absolutely agree. We're going to move on to time's sake, but the matchup of the night, I think, is going to be at 7:00 on TNT, and that's the Boston Celtics and the Brooklyn Nets. One of the things to take notice of is that it was bad play and bad play. You had Kyrie having bad play with the fans, and you had Kevin Durant having bad play in the game. But one of the things you want to take note of is since the start of 2019, Kevin Durant has averaged 36 points in his first game following a loss. So other than the fact that when he tore his Achilles where he had 11 points, he is averaging a mind-blowing 39 points following a defeat. Watch out for tonight for the Brooklyn Nets.
Yeah, I thought they did a great job on him on defense, but it was weird. It was like, it happens. Every great player has their off night. And for Kevin Durant, an off night means he only scores 21, which for most players is a pretty darn good night. But that's kind of what it was. And the other thing is Kyrie was making everything. So sometimes it's just get out of the way, let Kyrie do his thing. And it almost led to a comeback victory for the Nets. I can't wait to watch tonight. I think as far as hostile crowds, hostile environments, this is where it kind of takes a step up. A few fans probably saw what Kyrie did on the court the other game in game one in the Garden. Now everybody knows about it. So he's public enemy number one, and it's going to be a lot of fun. The series was already set up to be one that was going to be, down to the end. Now you add a lot of that drama to it. Fascinating. Also kind of fascinating that as you watch the Nets play it out, some of their big time additions that they've had. I mean, Blake Griffin not seeing too much action. Some of those older guys that they signed still not getting the minutes from Steve Kerr. Maybe won't, but they've got some adjustments to make if they need to. They've got some options, I should say, at the end of the bench that they could go to.
They can go to if they need to. If they need to make some adjustments, yeah. So one series we've got an absolute offensive juggernaut in the Golden State Warriors that is absolutely giving it to Denver right now, and it's causing tremendous frustration for Nikola Jokic that he just can't take. And we're going to see how he bounces back. They're going to not play until Thursday at 10 p.m., the late game. They're on TNT. But the one that I'm interested in watching also tonight is the Milwaukee Bucks in Chicago. I want to see how they bounce back. It's been a defensive firestorm between both teams, and it's ultimately Milwaukee has pulled it out in the first game, but they play again tonight at 9:30 on TNT, and we'll see how the Bulls bounce back. How do you view this series in a turnaround?
Well, because I'm a Celtics fan, I'm hoping that the Bulls can push the Bucks a little bit, just because I think there's going to be a 7-game series or 7-game series with the Nets and Celtics, regardless of which side you're on that one. So you hope that the Bulls can push it, but I just think too many injuries and a lack of being able to punch up this year. I know they played a good game one, so that can kind of give you a little bit of hope, but they kind of picked on everybody below them on their schedule, not necessarily doing the best when they played against the better teams, and obviously that's not going to fare well once you get to the playoffs and once you have to play the Bucks, who are the defending champs.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to watching those games tonight. They're going to be some interesting ones. Definitely the Celtics and the Nets, as well as the Chicago Bulls and the Bucks. And I've got to be supporting my Bucks on this one because that was one of the greatest moments I think to see for the city of Milwaukee after such a long hiatus, to be able to pull that off, and Giannis doing it in great fashion. But we've got to take a break. We'll come back and finish up with some news, talking a little bit about some quarterback and wide receiver controversies that are still out there and exploring. We got some other things to do and to talk about as well. We'll tap in on some of those. You tap in right here on The Block. Come back. Final segment on The Block, 93.7 The Ticket.
Happy Hour with Nick Sainert and Enrique Alvarez Clary.
Let's go ahead and head right to the phone lines. Bob, what's up?
Hey, I'm here at the ballpark.
How are the elements? Is it nice outside?
Oh, I don't mind it. I don't mind it at all. When it's out of the north, it's not too windy. When I first got here, about a half hour ago. Yeah, okay. That's yeah! That's Put it down, that day! I'm sorry.
It's okay. I love it. Thank you, Bob. Bob, we're going to let you go, Bob.
All right. I'll be here.
Weekdays from 2 to 3 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
There's nothing quite like the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese beef. The Mercado offers unique ingredients you can't find anywhere else, open every day from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The full-service butcher shop and retail store is wonderful for meat lovers with their exclusive certified Piedmontese beef and assorted sausages, plus other quality meats, including pork, chicken, and a wide range of the freshest seafood. Plus, every Friday from 11 to 2, the Mercado serves up the best lunch in town on their Friday Feast menu. Stop in at the Mercado today at 84th and Havelock or visit their website at cpmercado.com to see current deals.
Find great deals now on new Rams, Jeeps, and more during Ram Truck Month and the Jeep Celebration event at Baxter Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Shop our entire inventory of new and certified pre-owned vehicles anytime. At Baxter, we put you in the driver's seat.
Working at Continental in Lincoln isn't a job, it's a career. And right now they've raised wages again, and they're hiring for production operators at $22.07 per hour and other select jobs starting at $23.77 per hour, with wages growing up to $29.71 per hour. Continental also has salary jobs available and great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates. To learn more or to apply, go to continental-jobs.com with keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today.
Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. It's soul food right here in Lincoln. Ribs, wings, catfish, coleslaw, cornbread, grits. I mean, I'd say it's food like your grandma used to make, but my grandma never made food like that. If you haven't already, you've got to give it a try. Check out their location across from South Point at 27th and Pine Lake, or find their food truck at events all over town, or visit them online at maryellens.com to see the full menu. Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. Let them fix you a plate.
Tune in every Monday morning throughout the summer at 6:45 a.m. for golf course reviews on the Nebraska Golf Passport Early Break Golf Tour with Jake Sorensen and Steve Sipple on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Fruitcakes are just for Christmas, right? Gosh, I feel sorry for you. I mean, what if we had done that with bacon? Bacon is only for breakfast. We'd never have bacon cheeseburgers. We'd never be able to save a salad by adding bacon bits. We'd never have Brinner. That's breakfast for dinner. Don't limit yourself. Fruitcakes for St. Patrick's Day. Fruitcakes for graduation. Fruitcakes for Thursday. Beatrice Bakery and Grandma's Fruitcakes are perfect for every occasion. Check them out in downtown Beatrice or online at beatricebakery.com. Welcome to our world of yum.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Coppell Chevrolet GMC, and it's been a great start here to the year as 2022 new inventory continues to roll in. Our pre-owned lot remains full, and we are selling at a record pace. I was just down at Coppell talking about a new order for myself, and they let me know I can actually start ordering a 2023 here later this spring. So stop on in to get your new 2022, your pre-owned vehicle, or maybe talk about ordering here for 2023. Check them out online at CoppellCars.com. You'll be glad you did.
Junior, hurry it up in there. Honey, he's doing it again.
Doing what again?
Practicing for American Idol in the shower. I need in there.
Well, MemberZone is offering no-fee home equity lines of credit. We could use the value of the house too.
Add a second bathroom? Say no more.
From adding another shower to all of life's in-betweens, you're headed in the right direction with a MemberZone home equity line of credit. Learn more at memberzonecu.org. Restrictions may apply. Federally insured by NCUA.
If you need to sell equipment and trucks, Ritchie Brothers' new Lincoln Storage Yard lets you free up space at your property and get local access to all Ritchie Brothers auctions. Drop your equipment off and sell it online at any Ritchie Brothers auction, Iron Planet, or via Marketplace E. The yard is at 8801 Highway 6 in Lincoln. It's secure and makes for easy in-person buyer inspections and pickup. Take advantage of this yard to sell at Ritchie Brothers Great Plains Regional Auction on June 16th. For details, visit rbauction.com/Lincoln.
Back to On the Block with Strick and Bach on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Happy Snoop Dogg Day to everybody out there. If you are headed to the Snoop Dogg concert tonight, I hope you guys have fun. Cool place to be here. Lincoln is the cool place to be here on the holidays for some, I suppose, out there. And certainly a lot of interesting stuff in the world of sports. We'll get to some of the NFL stuff. Deebo Samuel requesting a trade for the 49ers. What does that mean for the NFL? Wide receivers as a whole, and, of course, the San Francisco. It's quite an interesting scenario as that plays out. Did want to remind some people of Ticket Weeknights, though, coming up here. The Truth with Kobe Webster will be immediately following this program with Raph and AD. Strick, are you set to join those guys tonight, I believe?
Yeah, I'm going to hang out and have a little discussion with those guys, riffing with Raph, with AD and Raph. So, yeah, I'm going to stay a little bit.
So there you go. Yeah, a little bit of teaser there. Tremaine Bell also set to join the program there. Talking Trash will wrap up, I believe, for Ticket Weeknights tonight. So as always, a lot of good stuff to get there. I'm going to be watching the Celtics and the Nets, which we just talked about, so I'm excited about that. Obviously, and then the news of the day, if you missed it, Casey Rogers, as far as at least locally news of the day, Casey Rogers, Nebraska defensive lineman, entering the transfer portal. Very thin position for Nebraska. Entering the day gets even thinner, less experienced, and at least for me, I'm sounding the alarms. I'm very frustrated and very scared now. The defense, the Big Ten, is not a place to grow your defensive line. You better have some men to throw in there, and we'll see what Nebraska can put together through the transfer portal, but not doing the best job this offseason in keeping that defensive line together, to say the least. But let's get to this. It's kind of the big news of the day nationally is that Deebo Samuel has requested a trade from San Francisco. He is the kind of do-it-all playmaker for that team, primarily a wide receiver, but also lines up at running back. There's been kind of some whispers out there that maybe part of this is he doesn't want to be used that way. Running backs in the NFL have short careers. It's tough to take too many of those hits. And then the other part of it is obviously he wants the money bag, which a lot of these receivers are cashing in on this offseason and forcing trades if it's not going to, meant to be. If you're the 49ers, you still got to take care of Trent Williams and Joey Bosa and some of those other guys. But you do have, to me, the flexibility could be maybe it's not what you want to do right away, but give the keys to the car to Trey Lance, get that Jimmy G contract off the boards. Maybe you can re-sign Deebo.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, it seems to me that it's not necessarily a money issue, or otherwise, if you throw the money at him, you could basically fix that issue. I think there's some other factors that may be involved, and I think the good thing about the 49ers is they have some capital, right? If you can package those two together and throw a nice little deal together to be able to acquire some pieces, maybe some draft, with the draft looming and coming, you may be able to make that deal work. Somebody's definitely going to pay for his services. So find out where the best team is, where the biggest fit and need would be, where somebody could use a quarterback that will just basically run your team, get you started, and you're pairing up a group that had tremendous tremendous success last year. They were that. Yeah, don't print that. Tremendous success.
Good word slippage there as we go into it. I like that. But yeah, no, I think you're right. I mean, it would be crazy to see the package deal of Jimmy G. Like, imagine Deebo Samuel trying to go somewhere with a proven quarterback, and instead he just brings Jimmy G along with him. That might be a little bit frustrating, but because I mean that's part of the reason I think they have to use him is that they don't have a dynamic quarterback, so you just kind of use him in all the different ways to get him going there. Extremely versatile. Again, I think he's put up numbers. I don't have the stats right in front of me, but as far as combined receiving and rushing numbers, that only Marshall Faulk with the greatest show on turf and our guy, our guy Roger Craig back in the day, former Nebraska Cornhusker, kind of brought that to the limelight with the Joe Montana and those 49ers back in the day. Deebo Samuel, kind of the Swiss Army knife. Do you think that takes his value down if he's looking to get out of San Francisco and says, I want to be just a wide receiver at my next stop? Do you think that there will be some teams that go, well, that's, we like the complete package of Deebo Samuel, but just wide receiver Deebo Samuel, maybe we're not going to get in the sweepstakes?
Well, I don't think that he probably minds doing that. I just think that he may just not like the higher volume of doing that. He may like the versatility of the moving around, but not necessarily being locked and stocked in that form. And where he's getting 15 carries a game, maybe he gets 5. You know what I'm saying? So I don't, he may not feel that just doing at the higher volume is something that he may want to do. He may want to be more on the running out patterns as opposed to running through tackles. So,
yeah. It's kind of funny too because it's obviously the easy comparison for Nebraska fans is Wan'Dale Robinson, who left Nebraska because they were using him in too many running situations and went and became an All-American wide receiver in the SEC at Kentucky. So I don't know if this would be something that he would hope for or necessarily, I think Deebo Samuel's special. I don't think it would necessarily translate as easy, but if the 49ers are looking to replace Deebo Samuel, maybe Wan'Dale there might be part of the mold that you're looking for once you get in the second round. I think if you trade him, with how, where his stock is, just leading them, basically being their primary offensive piece, and not having necessarily a quarterback. We all know the 49ers story, and they got to the NFC playoffs, or excuse me, the NFC championship. His stock's got to be really high. I think you could get first round pick, maybe borderline top 10 pick for Deebo Samuel at this point.
It's very possible, and that's going to be the most interesting thing. On the other hand, what are you going to get from a Kyler Murray? You know what I mean? So he doesn't have, I don't think he has as much leverage as maybe a Deebo Samuel's, right? Because at the end of the day, he could be fined up to 40 per day. And then also he could lose the vast majority of his 2020 compensation if he doesn't show up for the third day of training camp. He loses $4.5 million. So his leverage isn't as big as maybe Deebo Samuel's, but at the end of the day, they're both trying to do the same thing, is trying to get a bigger bag on their longer term deals. I just think the Deebo Samuel's has a little bit more options.
Yeah, it'll be fascinating to see what the Cardinals do. There are, there are predictions out there that he could be a draft day trade. That would be pretty exciting for the draft. I got to believe if you're the Cardinals, eventually you're going to lose this staring contest with Kyler Murray because we know how important the quarterback position is in this league. And you've got a guy there that at times looks the part. I know at times down the stretch doesn't, but I think that they're just going to have to pay him the bag. We'll see how it goes. Again, Ticket Weeknights coming up next. Lots of great programming tonight, but that'll wrap it up for On the Block. For today, we'll be back. Strick will see if he can go 4-0 on the weekend shootout with Strick, so that'll be something to look forward to. Of course, plenty of sports talk tomorrow for you on the block. Ticket Weeknights is next.